Hello everyone, welcome to the first lesson on OET writing lessons for doctors. In these lessons, we are going to review the different types of writing that you are required for your writing, as well as tips and tricks and things that you can do to meaningfully improve your writing score. Generally speaking, OET is has a sort of a online following that it's easier than IELTS, but it doesn't mean that you don't need practice for a OET exam. You definitely need to do practice, but maybe because it's specific to certain types of writing, you need less of it. So in these video series, we are going to review different types of writing that you are required to practice, and also, practice. We can practice together, provide samples and examples, and tips and tricks to improve your writing. And I agree that it's because it's a specific, it's a narrowed down version of a general IELTS, for example. Technically, it should be simpler exam, but you definitely need to practice. So what is OET for doctors in terms of writing is that you need to provide three types of writings. It's either referral, as I written here, it's either referral or discharge letter or a transfer letter. And understanding these differences is very important because then it changes the sort of purpose of your writing and also the tone of your writing and the objective that you are trying to achieve, as well as the audience. So in this video, we are going through these different types, maybe provide short examples, and then in the later videos, each individually, we are going to dig deeper and practice with different types of referrals, different types of discharge, and so on and so forth. What is a referral? A referral is probably the most common. Let me write here. This is the most common. Is essentially, imagine that you are a GP, that you want to refer a patient to a specialist, or maybe like not a specialist in the medical. The specialist is not a medical doctor, maybe to a physiotherapist or to a therapist, and so on and so forth. A social worker, for example. These different types of referrals doesn't have to be exactly a medical specialist, but it depends on the situation. You might need to refer to another medical or healthcare professional. So your audience is essentially almost always is a healthcare professional, but it could be most of the cases is probably a specialist. But there are cases that you for example, you want to refer to a physiotherapist. In general, you need to provide some history, not too much, some history, some medical history, as well as the test. If there are some investigation results, you can add those as well. And the most important part is plan and action. You can ask your audience, the person who receives the letter, specifically for what kind of thing that you are referring to. For example, for referral, a GP referring a patient with chronic back pain to a physiotherapist. And then GP would include the history of the pain, history of medication, and the things that they've tried. And then they ask the physiotherapist to assess the patient and create a management plan, and maybe provide a feedback loop back to the GP. So that's an example of referral. So let me sort of move this a little bit to this side. So this could go this side. And next is the discharge. And the discharge, maybe it's a little bit easier because it's straightforward. You want to essentially discharge a person from a healthcare facility. This is maybe less common than the referral, but it still happens. So let me write down less common. And obviously, again, it's the audience might not be exactly the healthcare professionals, but might be the the primary healthcare provider. So, for example, this is from the point of view of the hospital. So, in the previous one, I mentioned that imagine that you're a GP. In this one, you imagine that you're the hospital, or the hospital staff. Let's put it this way: you are the hospital staff that you are updating the patient's primary healthcare provider, primary GP of the patient, for example, or a community nurse. And so the person that receives the letter already knows about the patient's condition. So you are providing, for example, the information that you are providing is the reason for admission in the hospital or the healthcare facility to begin with, and then the summary. We are going through these in more details. I'm just going through different types, essentially. Summary of the actions, the treatment, summary of the treatment in the hospital, and medication that needs to be done, and the follow-ups, and those kind of things. So we are going through this as well in the later videos specifically. And lastly, the last type is transfer letter. So this is as opposed to a healthcare professional, as opposed to a specialist or a primary care doctor. The transfer letter is aimed at the other healthcare facilities. So this could be sort of the audience would be maybe some primary nurses, different wards, different sort of departments that would receive this letter. And in this letter, you want to essentially the information that you want to include is the reason for the transfer, essentially the patient's condition doesn't fit here. Let's clear it. So the condition and reason for transfer, and obviously the medical history and the background and those kind of things. So to sort of make it better, let's draw a table that makes it easier to sort of distinguish all these three different types of letters. So a letter type is either referral or discharge or transfer. And let's choose a different color. So here is purpose. So the purpose of referral is request help or sort of second opinion from a specialist. The purpose of discharge is provide an update, essentially, and the transfer is handover care. So each has a unique purpose. And audience, maybe this is the most informative part of these letters, is that the audience for referral is especially, specialist. Specialist has one L in it. Specialist that doesn't necessarily know the patients, and that's important. You want to essentially, that means that you need to add some sort of medical history. Maybe doesn't know patient. And the discharge is GP knows the patient. So the focus is not so much on the medical history, because they already, you assume that they already know the condition, why they were admitted into the hospital in the first place. And lastly, the transfer letter is the new facility or healthcare provider. Let me draw a line so it's obvious. Whoops, this one needs to go like this. And the focus, again, to sort of wrap up, the focus of referral is history and reason for request. The focus of discharge is the reason for hospital stay and the follow-up. And the focus of the transfer is the current status and the sort of immediate needs, and the information that is needed for the quote-unquote next facility. So that's the three types. In the future lessons, we're going to go provide an example for each of these letters and go deeper into how to improve these letters, how to write it smoothly, and what are the key factors that you need to add into your letter that is important for the exam. And that's it for today. I hope you like it. See you in the next one. Cheers.